Welcome back to the channel. Our last few videos have been kind of closing the door on summer, but I think winter is in about two days. And as you can see, it shows here in southwestern Ontario. And it's a beautiful, crisp, clear, bright morning. I thought I would take this opportunity to share with you how Eddie and I got here, where we came from, and take you through our barns and show you a bit of a barn tour. And I hope you'll come along with us.
This video is sponsored by Major Dairy AI Services Limited.
Just to show you kind of the layout of our property, this here is our house, and then that's our driveway, our laneway, and then over there is our dairy barn that we built 2.5 years ago. And this is our heifer barn, which is kind of historic. There was an old part here that knocked down probably about 12 years ago, and to that old part, this part was added. But this part was fine when the old part knocked down, so then we replaced the old part, and now this is the new part, and that's the old part. And I'll bring you inside in a moment. And this is the shop on our property, and there you have it. This farm has about 180 workable acres on it, and we also rent another 30 from our neighbor. And this farm was purchased by Eddie's parents a number of years ago. I'm not exactly sure when, but they bought it from Eddie's aunt and uncle who moved away to farm in a different area. So I'll bring you into the heifer barn here through this overhead door that's open. Eddie's doing some feeding in there right now. So this barn has some straw storage here. And those are Eddie's egg bags for his custom silage bagging business. Okay. As well as our heifers, we also raise Eddie's brother Dave's heifers. So these are not all our heifers, but these ones are bred and will be heading to the dairy barn or Dave's place soon. They have freestalls here. In this freestall section, it's big, but it's kind of separated off into 3 different sections or age groups of heifers. So the larger numbers of ear tag are Dave's heifers, and he has a nice red one there. And the double-digit numbers are ours. So there's one of ours, 43. And as you move down through the barn, the heifers get younger and younger. So I'm walking through the heifer barn here toward the dairy barn. There's a little entrance here. I'll show you. Just a little entrance room, so you can come into the barn that way. There's just a little shelf there. Nothing too crazy. Carrying on through the barn. Hello. Do you have something to say to the camera? Eddie's feeding them now, so they're kind of crazy, but this is now over. So that section of the barn is freestalls, and then this section is straw pack. So these heifers here are about 1 year old. They're not bred yet. We start breeding around 14 months. We use Major Dairy AI services for our breeding, which you can learn about in this video on the screen. Continuing down the barn, they're getting younger and younger and louder and louder. Hi.
I think it's gonna get warm in here, so I might drop the curtain a little bit. Yeah, there's no auto ventilation. Like the other one, we really count on the system taking care of it. Here, throughout the day, we'll adjust the curtain. Usually you can put it where you want in the morning when I'm in here around 9 o'clock, and it's good till the evening around 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock. And then I always check what the weather's gonna do overnight, because if we get a north wind or even a west wind or northwest, it's driving right on this curtain, which is fine in the summer, but in the winter, you gotta be careful. So, but these guys look good. Like, look at Dave's one calf.
Yeah,
that one that Dave has, 1376. That is a beautiful calf.
There's another red one there.
And that, yeah, that's Dave's red one. Lauren will give you an update on our red one. I know Rob from Missouri wants to see that Ranger red, and it's in one of our super hutches. It's probably as old as my brother Dave's, But we have ours in a super hutch, and probably for another week or two they'll be there before they come in here.
There's the beefy.
Yeah, that's...
Is that a bull?
No, it's a female. He wants to keep it and breed it. His kids talked him into keeping it and having a little hobby beef herd.
I see.
Seems like every dairy farmer has to keep something around that doesn't make any money.
So this is the youngest group. These calves, I would say, would be anywhere from 4 to 6 months when they come in here, depending on what we have room for in our super hutches and what Dave has room for at his place. Now, in the interest of being transparent with you guys, we did have a lot of respiratory issues this fall. We struggled in this barn bringing the calves from outside to inside and commingling the herds. We really did struggle with some respiratory issues, but I'm happy to say we got the calves through it. We didn't lose any, and they're looking great now, and they are really coming back. So that's really positive to report. This is the old silo room. The light doesn't work. Hang on. We don't use this silo. I think there were issues with it where it needed repairs, and Eddie just prefers to feed out of bags. So that's the route we took. So I'll just go back through to the dairy barn now. And Eddie does about 99.9% of the chores in the heifer barn. It's all mostly done with a skid steer. And I do know how to drive a skid steer now, but I don't do it often. So he takes care of the chores in there. We clean out the freestalls. Sorry, he cleans out the freestalls with the skid steer, beds them up, feeds with the skid steer, while the older heifers are on TMR. But he takes care of that. All I do is check up on the young heifers if there's an issue, and if he's away, then I'll push and feed in the evening. So now we'll head over to the dairy barn over there. Oh, our breeder's here. So getting back into some history, when Eddie and I got married, his parents did own this farm, and we moved on to it. And at that time, Eddie wasn't farming. He was working construction. He worked for a general contracting construction company. And then I think about 5 months, 6 months into our marriage, he went to work with his brother on the family dairy farm, which is about 10 minutes away. We've toured that with you guys before. And at that time, we applied for the new entrant program to start up on our own. And at that point, it was about a 10-year wait list until we would be able to get the quota available through that program. But through the years, as people drop out and as things don't line up properly, I think it was 5 to 6 years that we were on it in total. And then about 4 years ago, our name was coming up on the new entrant program. So we started to make plans to build this barn and to start up on our own, Eddie and I. So that's kind of how this all came to be. And now we're 2.5 years in of Eddie splitting off from his brother Dave. So his brother Dave is still at the home farm milking cows there, and we milk 60 cows here on this farm. We got 35 kilograms of quota from the new entrant program, and some was transferred over from the family dairy farm. And we have a robotic milking system. We have 2 Gia robots, and maybe I'll show you our calves first. We raise our calves outside around the barn here. So this is the milk house, kind of comes off of the barn, and if you'd like a tour of that, we have an in-depth milk house tour video, including everything we would change about it. So I'll link that up on the video here. So this is you can come through this overhead door to feed calves, and then I'll just show you out here. This is our winter spot for calves. So we like having them right outside the milk house so that we don't have to clear as much snow, and it's just more friendly for the workers, and also the calves are more sheltered from the wind. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 heifers lined up here, and she doesn't have a coat on because she's older, but these younger ones, they have coats on. And then we have doors that we can put on the hutches at night, and we close up the vents to keep them warm. And then we have 2 super hutches here, We also have a plywood door that we can put on the opening of the super hutch, but it hasn't really been cold or windy enough to do that this year yet. So they can snuggle together in the hutch. They have feed here and water. Oh, it's frozen. Don't tell anybody. I'll thaw that out in a minute. And then we have another group here. So that hutch I just showed you has 2 in it. We'll move 2 more in it shortly. We're just waiting them to be weaned for a good amount of time before moving them in. And this is our red heifer here. Iris is her name, number 71. She's from a Bull Ranger Red, and she's doing really good. And this is another curious calf that's giving kisses. So there's 4 in this hutch. That's kind of what we max these hutches out at. I think 4 is nice in the winter because they can cuddle all together. But then it does get messier out here, which we'll clean up every now and then. And we just keep bedding them up with straw until they're ready to move into the heifer barn. Just along here is I think where we had our last calf update. We had a bunch of calves lined up along these sea cans. We kind of redid this calf yard in the spring and had them there. And then once they all grew up out of there, we moved them over to this side. So this is where we kind of had them in the fall. We had a nice long row of 10 heifers here, which looks kind of cool. I'll see if I can put a picture in the video. But we have 4 left out here. 2 are weaned. The 2 I was saying that we're just waiting till they're ready to join the group over there. So this 77 and 78 will move shortly. And then these 2 are still, they're being weaned. They're still on milk, but they're being weaned. And then once they're weaned and ready, we'll move them out to the super hutch too. Right? Right, girly? He's shy. She's camera shy. So these calves too are sheltered from the wind, even beside the dairy barn. Well, depending on what direction the wind is coming from. But it's interesting because I was feeding cows the other night and it was really cold. And there were calves by the milk house that we did not have doors on the hutches, and their water bowls were frozen solid. And then out at the end of the barn where you would think they would have less protection, we had doors on the hutches, and there was snow all drifted up to insulate the sides of the hutches, and there was not even one bit of ice in the water bowls. So that's how good that snow insulation can be for them. Add a coat and a door, and they are cozy as can be in there. Eddie is part of our county's dairy committee, and we did something really fun last weekend for Christmas, and I just want to show you here. So I'll put those videos on now, and we won't see you guys again before Christmas. So have a Merry Christmas, a blessed Christmas, happy holidays. Thank you for supporting dairy, and we hope that you include lots of yummy dairy sweet treats in your holiday celebrations this season.
Our county's dairy committee was heading to Guelph, a city about 45 minutes away, to participate in the Santa Claus parade. We packed up and met our people, or I should say cows, in line for the parade. We got dressed up, and it was so much fun to hand out chocolate milk to the local people watching the parade as a token of thanksgiving for supporting dairy. The parade was fast-paced, and we said Merry Christmas 1,000 times. It's safe to say it was a success.
Have fun?
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Lila? Yeah. How much milk did we hand out?
Well, we're taking a guess, but I think it was close to 5,000. Just our family alone, I think we probably did 2,500. I'm just kidding.
How much?